Well, lawmakers again today grilled FDA Commissioner Robert Califf over the baby formula shortage. Now, yesterday he admitted the agency was, quote, too slow to act. Joining us now to discuss more, Congressman Mark Green. Congressman, great to see you again. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. You know, this is the first time I ever remember this administration admitting responsibility for anything that goes wrong. But having said that, I'm wondering if Dr. Califf is a fall guy here, because I think he was actually finally confirmed on February 15th, which was actually after the worst of this had happened. So is he being the fall guy for a more systemic problem?
I think they want to make him the fall guy. The problem is that it took over a year for President Biden to pick someone to lead the FDA. And as you mentioned, I think in a previous monologue, it took them 8 months to get the whistleblower report up to the chain of command. Right. And that is a systemic failure and a failure of leadership, which they didn't have because the president didn't appoint someone.
And it all comes down, I think, to just about every problem that we have where you can pinpoint it to this administration comes down to their far too great faith in the power of the government to solve problems, to arrange the economy, et cetera. As Ronald Reagan used to say, the government's not the solution, it's the problem.
Well, there's no doubt about that. And in this particular case, that's very much the case. I mean, basically the food assistance programs have created a monopoly by buying in bulk from certain vendors, and it basically is protectionist against any competition in the marketplace. And then you layer over that all the regulations, the tariffs that we actually put on foreign, baby formula. That's why I just dropped a bill that it's a very simple bill. It just allows the president to remove the tariffs and those regulations as long as the baby formula is safe and made to our standards nutritionally, to bring it into the United States. I'm aware of an Australian company ready right now to ship baby formula to the United States, but they can't because of the regulations.
So would this Australian company have enough to fill our shelves, to fill the supply gap we have now?
They have tons of baby formula and they're ready to ship it. And all we need to do is change the regulations. The tariffs, the restrictions that create a monopoly inside our own country. It's too much government, once again, screwing it up.
Now, doesn't the executive have the power to change those barriers to importing that Australian formula?
He doesn't have the authority. That's why we need this bill. And we could pass this in a few days and he could have the authority and waive the regulations. Actually, redoing the regulations is what we need to ultimately do, but that's going to take some time to ferret through. There are thousands and thousands of pages of trade regulation that have to go through. My team's working on that. But for now, we gave him just the authority to waive them in the time of this crisis, and we need Nancy Pelosi to floor the bill.
Isn't that, we're thinking alike. That was the next word that was going to come out of my mouth was Nancy Pelosi. Instead, she seems only to want to point fingers at the company. She says somebody there's got to be indicted. I don't know who she was talking about or exactly what they would be indicted for. Do you?
Well, they had a contamination that resulted actually in a child's death, and there are liability laws that allow that to be worked out in our court system. I'm sure that's proceeding. Abbott notified, and they said they were sorry. Their CEO actually apologized. What didn't happen was the plant didn't get authorized to go back open because the information for the inspection never got to the leadership at the FDA, and that's a failure inside the systems inside the FDA. Again, I point back to the fact they had no leader because the president waited a year to appoint them.
Right, right. And then, of course, there's also the problem that the government's involved in buying up so much of this stuff that they put all these controls, not only export controls or import controls of foreign stuff, but from state to state, you have all these barriers, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. The way we buy for our food assistance programs creates an advantage to those companies and basically, essentially, no competition. What we've got to do is get competition in the marketplace because that'll drive down price, of course, and it'll create supply. You know, these guys don't understand how to manage a supply chain.
No. Well, it's more fun to beat up on producers. Government is not the solution. It is the problem. I think Reagan had it right.
Amen.
40 years ago.
He did.
Congressman, great to see you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks, David.